Uber's stock has dropped nearly 19% in the last 52 weeks. That sounds like bad news, right? But here's the strange part. 53 different Wall Street analysts are calling this stock a strong buy, and their average price target sits over 40% above where the stock trades today. So which story is true? Is Uber a company falling apart, or is it a company the market simply hasn't caught up to yet? Let's dig into the numbers and find out. First, let's talk about size. Uber currently carries a market cap, which is basically the total value of all its shares, of about $151.5 billion. Its enterprise value, which adds in debt and subtracts cash to show what it would actually cost to buy the whole business, is a bit higher at nearly $154 billion. That gap between the two numbers is already hinting at something we'll come back to. Now here's where it gets interesting. Uber's trailing price-to-earnings ratio, or PE, which tells you how much investors are paying for every dollar of profit, is 18.4. That's not a crazy number on its own. But the real surprise is the PEG ratio, which compares that price to how fast earnings are expected to grow. Uber's PEG ratio is just 0.72. Generally, a PEG under 1 can suggest a stock is priced cheaply relative to its growth. So despite the stock price falling, the growth story might not have gotten the memo. At first glance, a falling stock price makes you think the business itself is struggling. But look at the actual performance. In the last 12 months, Uber generated $53.69 billion in revenue and walked away with $8.54 billion in net income. That works out to $4.04 in earnings per share. This is a company that is very much profitable, not just surviving, and that's not even the most surprising part. Uber's gross margin sits at 39.64%, meaning for every dollar of revenue, almost 40 cents is left after covering the direct cost of the rides and deliveries themselves. The operating margin is 11.66%, and the final profit margin is 15.91%. Each of those layers tells you the business is keeping more of what it makes as you move down the income statement, which is generally a sign of a company gaining control over its costs. But here's where things get interesting. Cash flow tells an even bigger story than profit. Uber's operating cash flow, the actual cash generated from running the business, came in at $10.13 billion. After subtracting capital expenditures of just $327 million, free cash flow lands at $9.8 billion. That's a free cash flow margin of 18.25%. In simple terms, Uber isn't just profitable on paper, it's generating real cash, and a lot of it. However, one number changes the picture a little. Uber holds $6.09 billion in cash, but it also carries $12.42 billion in debt. That means the company actually has a negative net cash position of about $2.46 billion, or negative $1.21 per share. So even with all that cash flow coming in, Uber is still carrying more debt than cash sitting in the bank right now. This is where investors often get confused, because debt alone doesn't tell the whole story. Uber's debt-to-equity ratio is a modest 0.48. And its interest coverage ratio, which shows how easily the company can pay interest on its debt using operating profit, is 14.13 times. That's a comfortable cushion. On top of that, Uber's Altman Z-score, a formula that estimates the risk of financial distress, sits at 4.16, which is generally considered a safe zone rather than a warning sign. Let's talk about how efficiently this business is actually run. Return on equity, which measures how much profit is generated from shareholders' money, is a striking 35.31%. Return on invested capital, a broader measure of how well the company turns all its capital into profit, is 19.29%. And Uber's weighted average cost of capital, essentially the cost of the money it uses to fund operations, is 9.8%. When a company earns nearly double what it costs them to raise capital, that's usually seen as a sign of strong, disciplined management. Now for an unexpected comparison, Uber generates about $1.58 million in revenue per employee, with each employee contributing roughly $251,000 in profit. That's a lot of financial output running through a company of 34,000 employees, which says something about how leveraged this business model actually is. Here's another twist most people miss. Uber does not pay a dividend, zero. Nothing to shareholders in that traditional sense, but it still holds a shareholder yield of 2.51%, entirely coming from stock buybacks. In other words, instead of handing out cash directly, Uber has been reducing its share count, down 2.51% over the past year alone, which increases the ownership stake of everyone holding onto their shares. So where does the stock actually sit today, technically speaking? It's trading below both its 50-day and 200-day moving averages at $73.21 and $81.12, respectively, which reflects that recent downward pressure we mentioned at the start. Yet its relative strength index, a measure of whether a stock is overbought or oversold, sits right in a neutral zone at 54.33. Meanwhile, short sellers, those betting the price, will fall further, only account for 2.7% of total shares outstanding, which isn't an overwhelming amount of pessimism. So let's bring it all together. On one side, you have a business generating billions in free cash flow, expanding its margins, earning far more on its capital than it costs to raise, and holding a financial safety score that suggests low distress risk. Analysts, 53 of them, are projecting revenue growth near 13.4% and earnings growth near 30% over the next 3 years. On the other side, you have a stock price that's fallen almost 19% over the past year, a company carrying more debt than cash on hand, and zero dividend income for shareholders who prefer to be paid directly. Two very different stories, both built from the same set of numbers. The market has clearly been skeptical over the past year, while the fundamentals tell a story of a business quietly becoming more efficient and more profitable. Which side of that story do you think will end up being right?